Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be using my new tripod. I hope it looks good. So yeah, I hope the angle's fine. But today we are going to be talking about my July reading wrap up today. And I'm just gonna talk about all the books that I read this month. And I definitely read quite a few. So let's get started. So the first book I read this month was was it The Heart Principle? I think so. Oh wait, no. No. Okay, so the first book I read was To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn. And as you guys know, she's the author of the Bridgerton series, and this is Eloise's this is Eloise's story. And yeah, and I'm not gonna go much into it because if you've seen Bridgerton, you know who Eloise is. And yeah, you can kind of get a sneak peek of who Sir Philip is, because he is shown in the show. But if you want to read the book, then go ahead and read the books first. But it doesn't really matter if you watch the show or watch the books, because the books to movie, it's a little bit different. Like the book to show, it goes into a different direction for the seasons. So yeah, I couldn't tell you what they're gonna do differently. But I can tell you right now that I feel like the next seasons of Bridgerton, or the next season, it's gonna be a little bit different because they introduce Michaela, and that's supposed to be Michael. So I don't know how that is even gonna go. So yeah. But let's get on to the next book I read. Oh wait, I gave that book 3 stars. Then the next one I read was The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, and I gave that 3 stars. And The Heart Principle is the third book into the I don't even know what it's called, but yeah, it's basically like the characters are he is like he's like a cousin of like the other characters in the series. And yeah, and then she is she's a musician. She plays the violin, I think. And yeah, and she's been playing her violin, and she kind of gets burnt out, and she like is like trying to figure out how to get her pieces right. And yeah, and then she discovers by her therapist that she's autistic, and she has to figure that out for herself. And I really really like that, and I want to read more books and stories kind of like that, because and for me, like, I want to see more of that, because I don't really see that a lot in books. And we don't really see a lot of mental health either. We don't really see a lot of mental health representation, let alone autism representation, a lot in books. And I feel like, yeah, that I feel like that needs to be like it needs to be kind of shown and represented more, because I feel like I'm not gonna say all or a lot. I'm just saying that the I know a lot of people who have these disorders like autism and OCD and um ADHD and stuff like that, and there really isn't a book or a movie or whatever type of media that really shows what it's like to be and live. And it's not just like a horrible, it's not a disease, it's a way of being, basically. It doesn't affect you physically, it affects you mentally. Sometimes it can be physical, but it's not a physical disorder, it's a mental disorder. And usually, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a genetic, it's a genetic thing. It's hereditary. Like, you know. But yeah, anyways, we're not really gonna get into all that, but or else this video would be super super long. But yeah, the next one I read was The Mister by E.L. James, and that I gave 3 stars. And The Mister is basically he is like he's like super rich. He's like an earl, and his brother died in a motorcycle accident, and he has to cope and grieve off of that. And yeah, and then he meets his, they call her daily, but I'm just gonna say cleaner. He meets his cleaner, and um yeah, and he basically falls in love with her. And yeah, all this stuff goes on with her, and she kind of has to, she's like traumatized by that. So um yeah, so she is like trying to deal with that, and he kind of helps her with that. And yeah, and she becomes more comfortable, and she also falls in love with him. And they both like already had that attraction, but I feel like they fell in love in like halfway through the first book. I feel like actually truly fell in love with each other in like the in the half of the book. So yeah, and I feel like that is a good amount of time. Like I feel like I don't like fast paced like love, but I don't really like it when it's too slow burn. So yeah, like sometimes I like slow burn, but sometimes I like just a regular amount of time. It doesn't have to be fast or slow, it just can be just in the middle, and I feel like that's what it was for them. But yeah, and then I read a guide to being just friends by Sophie Sullivan, and I gave that 3 stars. And yeah, so basically she has her own like I don't even know what it is. It's like a salad, I don't know, it's like a salad cafe. I don't know, it's not a restaurant, it's like, but yeah, it's like where like it's basically where you can make your own salad. It's like literally like Kava, but like it's a really cool salad place. Anyways, so yeah, that's what it is. Uh let's see. And also like he is, I don't really know what he does, to be honest. I don't remember what he does. But yeah, he works with his brothers and the love interest. I'm talking about the love interest. he works with his brothers on these projects, and yeah, and basically it's basically that. And yeah, and he basically thinks that um you know, he was his date that stood him up. So yeah, and that's yeah, and he goes and apologizes to her, and yeah, and it's basically that. um the next I read The Misses by E.L. James, and that's the second book to that series. And I gave that 3 stars. There wasn't, okay, let me just say this right now. If I rate something a 3 star, it's not that I didn't like it, it's just like it's not a 4 star. And I feel like, excuse me, I feel like for my 4 and 5 stars, I don't give those out lightly. So I feel like if a book is like 4 stars, that means it was better than a 3 star. Like it was really, really, really good. And I feel like, you know, I feel like a 3 star is like it was good, but it wasn't like, the best. It wasn't the best book I've ever read. And I feel like a 5 star is like that book is literally the bestest, most incredible book I've ever read. And that's what I give 5 star. But I feel like, as time goes on, like I do kind of change my 5 star rating. Sometimes, not all of the 5 stars I've made, but sometimes, it just takes me a while to think about it if I do rate a 5 star. But yeah, anyway. So the next one I read was Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey, and I gave that 3 stars. To be honest, I couldn't tell you what that book is about. Like I don't remember what that was. Wait, it's not the bride? Like she's a bride or something? I don't know. I think there's a bride on the cover of that book. I don't really know what it was about though. That's the thing. I think maybe if I'm like not mistaking it, I think basically they were like, her family is like this big time like wine cellars. So they have like, they make the wine, and he is like making wine, but it doesn't taste good at all or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it was, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I really don't remember. But I remember that being a book that I had read. If that is the book, then I think that was the book. But I could be wrong. Excuse me. The next one I read was Funny You Don't Look Autistic by Michael McCurry, I think. And I gave that 3 stars. He's like a comedian, and he's basically talking about like his life and like how he became a comedian and how he used his um diagnosis to kind of use that in his comedy, and use that in his he's a comic, so he has to, I feel like a lot of comics take life experiences and they make it into something. So yeah, and I feel like that's what he did with that. There is like a spider web on my bed, and I need to take care of that. So I don't even know where that came from. Anyway, I'm gonna take care of that later. But yeah, The Other Miss Bridgerton by Julie Quinn, and I give that 4 stars. Yeah, I gave that 4 stars, and yeah, so like It's literally her, and the guy is like, he's not a pirate, but he basically is a pirate, and he basically has they take her because she found this cave that she wasn't supposed to, and they have to take her with her, and then yeah. And then so she doesn't get ruined, she, you know, because like in that society, like, you know, she would get ruined if she was found out that she was with a man or whatever. So yeah. But yeah, so she didn't want anyone to know. um so yeah, it's a really good. I can't like explain it well right now, but it's a really good, and I truly recommend. um so yeah. The next one I read was The Road to Roswell by Connie Willis, and I gave that 5 stars. And let me tell you, this was so funny and so so adventurous and funny, and you know, there was a little romance in there, and like there was like plot twists in there, and like it was just a really fun read. So I truly recommend this book. I truly recommend you read this. It's so fun to read. Um, um, Especially if you're gonna go on a road trip, read this. Or like you're gonna go to like airport ride, read this book. I feel like that's the perfect time to read this, since they go like on a whole road trip. But yeah, I feel like that's literally the perfect time to read that book. But yeah, and then we have um Waiting for Tom Hanks by Carrie Winfrey. I give that 3 stars, and that's basically she's like a writer, and she just like writes like all this stuff. But yeah, and like she goes to her coffee shop that she always goes to, called Nick's, and she goes there, she bumps into this famous actor, and yeah. And why am I blanking on his name? I don't remember what his name is. But yeah. And she basically bumps into this famous actor, and yeah, so it goes from there. And then all of a sudden she gets a job working for her uncle's friend, and he's like this famous director who is filming this movie in her hometown, Ohio. And yeah, and it just a love story from there. And then I also read the second book to this, and this is Not Like the Movies by Carrie Winfrey, and I give this also 3 stars. And I gave this 3 stars because I don't know, it was just the same. It was just the same types of vibes. And also I didn't really like it as much as I did the first one as well. Um but I feel like also like, okay, so the girl, like they work together at Nick's, and he's like the actual like owner of this cafe. But yeah, they work together and like make it like a cafe. And yeah, and yeah, and they he like obviously likes her, but she doesn't like, I feel like she just didn't want to notice that, because you know, they work together, just be weird and awkward and whatnot, but they do. I can say that because it's obviously, but like, you know, it's obviously, you know, it's obviously gonna happen, you know. But yeah, anyway, and then I read Wuthering Heights next by Emily Bronte, and I gave that 3 stars. And let me just tell you, I don't ever want to read something like that again. That was I don't even know what to say to that because it was just awful. Like, and you know what? I gave it 3 stars because like it was okay, but I'm just like I'm sitting here reading it and I'm just like this is so boring but also so dramatic for nothing. Like I didn't like I wanted to DNF it, but I was like, okay, I'm literally 50% in, so I might as well finish it. So yeah, so I finished it and yeah, I was like, I did not like this book at all. But I'm still gonna give it 3 stars because yeah. Yeah. And also I wanted to really give this a chance. Um but I didn't like it. So yeah, and that's like huge bummer because I feel like everyone wants to give, you know, classics a chance because it's a classic, but it just did not work out for me and I didn't like it. So yeah. And then I read Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare and I gave that 3 stars. And yeah. So basically she is like um she basically after her father dies, she loses everything and she gets this castle inherited by her godfather and yeah. So yeah. And then but this duke is living there and he's like, "No, this is my castle. You can't stay here." And yeah. And she's like, "No, this is my castle now. So I'm going to stay here as long as I like." And also because she didn't want to stir any drama or, you know, scandals, she had to get you know, someone who could what is that called, like a chaperone or whatever it's called. um but yeah, she had to get one of those um so it wouldn't cause scandals. And yeah, so that was that. And then yeah, it's just the romance from there. And also I'm not gonna like spoil it because it is a spoiler, but yeah, basically her dad is um like he wrote these stories for her daughter. And yeah, and that's how a lot of people know her um by. But yeah. And also I think I can say this also, the duke is blind from a accident that happens in the book, and you just have to read it to see actually happened. um but yeah, the next book I read was It by Stephen King, and I gave that 5 stars. And let me tell you, I have been trying to read and finish this book for years now, and I just now finished it. Like I think I started trying to read this book in um 10th grade maybe. I don't know, really. Like it was the summer maybe. I don't really know, but I know it was in the summer. That's when I started it. And then um and then yeah, I don't even know. That's how long it's been since I've been trying to read this book, and it's taking me this long. And yeah. I I would say I've been trying to read this book for 4 years now, and I finally finished it today. I finished it, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I feel like um yes, there are like scary parts, but not really. I feel like the movies are definitely scarier than the books, But also, I feel like there is like disturbing parts of the book. Like it's just disgusting. There's like some of the parts that are disturbing is more disgusting than disturbing, I would say. Like it's disgusting because yeah, there's just disgusting parts in there, but also I would say there's also like funny parts, and like I feel like there's like some quotes that you can like take away from there. And always like since like then to now, like my favorite character has always been Richie. And not Richie, I do like Richie, but I'm Eddie. Like Eddie has always been like I feel like he's always been like a strong character, and I feel like he's like always been, you know, other than Bill, I feel like Richie and Eddie have always been the ones who's been like, okay, let's do this. Like we're here for it. And like Eddie is such a strong character too. Like he stands up to his mother, and who is just like, she's not evil per se, but she just wants to protect her kid. But it's just on this extreme where it's very just like harmful um to her kid, because she is just such a she's too overprotective and too possessive of her kid, and I feel like that's just not good for a kid to be so stuck in, you know. Kids are supposed to play with your friends and protect, especially in the climate that this book is set in. Like you're why can't he be surrounded by friends who are protecting him? Like, and yeah, like he even said it himself in the book, like if he didn't have his friends, he would have gotten, you know, he would have already gotten hurt. He would have gotten hurt, but his friends weren't even there. So yeah, like his friends are the ones that are protecting him, and he is protecting his friends, because that is like how, like, strong character and beautiful their friendship is that they can protect each other. And like, yeah, it's just like, yeah, like honestly, I feel like I feel like Ben's character is a really cool character, and Beverly really cool character as well. But um yeah, Eddie has always been my favorite. And I feel like Bill is like a strong character, but I feel like they relied on Bill too much, because I feel like, you know, he isn't like, yes, like he's a strong leader, but I feel like they could have relied on themselves a little bit more. Like Bill doesn't have all the answers. He's a kid too. You have to remember that. Like he was a kid too, so you have to like think uh, you have to think about those kinds of things too, because you know, he's just a kid. He's the same age as you. He doesn't have all the answers. He doesn't, like, you know, he's not Wikipedia. Like he doesn't have all the answers. He's not Google. But anyway, the last book I read is If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang, and I gave that 4 stars, and I just finished this today. And this, I would say, is like, it's like college abroad, school abroad in, I think it was Shanghai or China or something like that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, they were in China, and yeah, studying abroad, and yeah, it was just them, and they have like a friend, like a friend group, found family, like they stick together through their time that they have in this study abroad program. And yeah, and they form relationships with each other. But yeah, it just follows the two characters, Farah and, oh my gosh, why can't I remember these characters' names? Like, I literally just finished reading it. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, let me see. By the way, I'm pulling out my Goodreads so I can see the character's name because I don't remember. What is his name? Yeah, they did go for a year abroad in Shanghai. But what is his name? Blake. His name is Blake Ryan. But anyway, so like he is like an ex-football player, and yeah. And he doesn't want to be a football player anymore, so like he's just trying to figure out what he wants to do. And he, confides her, Farah, in, what he wants to do. And he doesn't tell her at first because like he's kind of scared of like what she would say or whatever. And yeah, they just kind of build up a relationship with each other. And yeah, there's some messed up things going on in this first book, so I can't wait to read the second book to see what's going on because it's crazy. And yeah, I'm just like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I have like my suspicions of what's going on. I don't know if that I'm right, but if you guys know what I'm talking about in this book, let me know, like, let me know what you guys think in the comments about any of these books. But let me know what your favorite book that you read this month was, and what you rated it. That's the comment that I want you guys to comment. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to give this video a huge like, and make sure to subscribe to my channels to see more videos like this. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!